And rolling. So, hi, I'm Dwight again, and here with Elinor Silverstein. Oh, we're still pretty full, but we just had dessert, alright? And Elinor pulled off the dessert. I don't even know where when did you make that dessert? She made this wonderful pear thing. So, can you talk about your wonderful pear thing? What do you call it? What did you do?
Well, I don't know what to call it. I'll have to think about it. But when we came back from lunch and we were getting ready to start our meeting, I thought, those pears are going to take a long time to prepare, or poach. So I thought, let me just make a jus. I'm very good at making jus.
You make some of my favorite jus.
Thank you. A little jus goes a long way. So I actually took some of your blood orange juice, jus, from last night. You had some leftover.
That's where it was. I was looking for that.
I stole it. And then I thought, what a great mix with putting that. And I took more oranges, cut them and juiced them, and then zested them.
Yeah.
And I thought, when you made your blood orange juice sauce, you added that beautiful butter. I mean, it's a really special butter.
It's Irish butter.
It's an Irish butter.
Special butter.
And it was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my gosh, the aroma that came from that. So I thought, I'm going to do that also. And so I zested the orange in there, and then I tasted it and I go, okay, right now it's a little bit just one way, so let me see what other flavors I can add. And I thought, so I added a little bit of white wine, the wine that we drank last night, and I kept reducing it down. And then I thought I'm going to stay away from spices like cinnamon because that would be so expected. Right, so I was going for non-expected, so I did a little zing of lemon juice and lemon zest because that kind of gave two citruses, or citri. And then I actually sprinkled in a little bit of grated some of your Himalayan.
The Himalayan salt?
The Himalayan salt.
Wow.
Yeah, because I thought, oh gosh, once the salt went into it, it perked up the sweetness. And then I went out onto the porch and I stole some of, Jackie will never know this, some of her maple syrup. And drizzled it in there. And then I thought, what the heck? Well, we'll just put a little sprinkling of brown sugar in it too. So what I kept doing is I kept tasting and then smelling, and I'm going, what is it missing? What is it needing? Let's bring in an aroma, sensations and taste, and what would be so flattering and complimenting, to the pears. And even after I drizzled it onto the pears, cut in half, it's still missing something. So I'm looking around the kitchen and I saw you had from Costco a huge box of grapes.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw a big bag of almonds.
Oh, that's what you're doing with the almonds.
Right. So I sliced them up, put them in the oven, dehydrated them, and then put them in with it. And that was the clincher to kind of add balanced flavors and aroma and give you that kind of
it was so good. And this is the kind of cooking I appreciate personally because it's so MacGyverish. It's just like, what's there? What can I do with it? It was ultimate creativity. We have the constraints of actually not knowing what you're doing, and then it sounds like when I'm listening to you that you started with something you had tasted the night before, and then just ripped off it like a jazz player, and then you really took it another direction. You brought in lots of elements in. So
I was also, when you said that, it's true, because I actually started searching around for something spicy to add into it. I wanted to add some of the chili powder into it, something just to give it just a little bit of kick, which to me is like a hug in my mouth.
Yeah.
But hug it in my mouth. But the one that I saw in there was more Cajun, and that wouldn't have gone with it. So I thought, okay, well, we're good. Yeah.
So how's this going for you? Often when we're doing these peer assessment things, is like we pause and just check in with somebody, and so sometimes they're kind of nervous at first, but we know each other and we get to cook a lot, so we actually really enjoy it. But how is this? What are you getting from this process?
I actually love talking with you about food, right? I mean, because we process food on such a deep level and sensory level, and it's when I talk to you, I know I'm not faking it and you're not faking it, so it's really real. And you don't get that often in something like that with talking to someone about something.
I get
I know.
So here we're at the point of like, so would you like some feedback on your pears?
I'd like some feedback on my pears.
You know, it's again, this is like very difficult to give feedback on something you really enjoy. This is like, oh my god. So I really liked, because she actually made a whipped topping, made some whipped cream at the end, and the dairy and the whipped topping really kind of complemented some of that citrusy and the lusciousness of the poached pears, and it kind of set it apart. So it was like especially after a meal, after we had this wonderful lamb and couscous meal and these spices and stuff, it was just like really clean. It was, you know, the fruit came through and the cream backed it up, and it was really like, kind of cleaned the palate, and it was really refreshing in a way. So
but you know what's interesting when you say that, because Krish also had made this beautiful dish and marinated sliced oranges, and some of them were blood oranges in there. And I thought, wow, when I was serving everyone their poached pears with the sauce and everything, I started putting in her sliced oranges with it. The flavors completely went together. They were so delightful. And then drizzle it on top, her sauce, you know, jus on top of the whipping cream. And wow, I just thought, you know what, we really had that whole Middle Eastern thing happening, and we could have blended all our flavors. They just all complemented each other. So I want to say thank you to Krish on that one too.
Okay, thanks for Krish, and let's go belly dancing now.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, ready to go? All right. So hi, I'm Dwight, and I'm kind of interviewing myself as part of this showing what we do in our Revivify competency workshop, where we teach people, you know, skills that help us to self-evaluate and reflect upon our own processes. We work in the world of giving Feldenkrais lessons, and it's a very creative, artistic type of process. So it's this idea of self-reflection and having peer reflection, but it starts with this idea of self-reflection. So I'm going to self-reflect on this lamb, this leg of lamb that I grilled tonight for my fellow friends. We had a wonderful dinner, and where'd the lamb? So, you know, I started with this idea that like we were doing this Middle Eastern night food, and we were making some hummus, and we were making some couscous, and it was just like, okay, I'm gonna grill this meat, and like, what would I be? So we soaked the meat. I soaked the meat in. I wanted to get this tanginess into the meat, so I made a marinade of yogurt and Dijon and garlic and lemon, and wrapped that all up and let it just sit for 24 hours. And then I built this wood fire out there and roasted that meat slowly. And then I realized, you know, it's about 30 minutes into it, it's a rainy night out there, there's wind, and the temperature is just fluctuating violently. And so I had to add more fuel, and then I started charring the meat, and then I was like going, okay. I got 9 hungry people up there. I cannot burn this like a lamb. And so I quickly had to make some adjustments in my heat control on the fly. I'm just going, but I happened to have a really good temperature thermometer. And so I actually trusted the temperature thermometer, and I actually got not counting on what it really looked like on the outside, but I used the temperature thermometer to say, this is going to be perfect if I just get it to 135. So kind of manipulated the heat that way, was playing with that. It was difficult conditions, and I think I pulled it off. Brought it in, let it sit for 10 minutes, and I really like when you let meat sit after you grill it, and then the juices come, and then I use that juice in a little reduction sauce and drizzle on top. And I'm always a big one for presentation. Presentation is a good thing. So put some greens on there, some rosemary, and slice the lamb up, and it fit right in. And I was very happy with my lamb. Got some good feedback on it. But what I really enjoy is sitting down there with a nice glass of wine and eating that lamb. And you know, I did okay. I was happy. I had made a smile inside. So that's my self-assessment of my process of cooking a leg of lamb this evening. So thank you.